Up, Tasuo Warriors? Here today with a tier list of the archetypes slash decks available in the Tasuo Showdown. This is to give you a good idea of, what's competitive and what is not in the year 2024 Showdown. So the S tier, we got to categorize as one card combos, immediately escalates the game state, one-man army, excellent value for card costs. So we're just going to start there. We have 4 of those. The first one is Hybrids. Hybrids are going to give you your best bang for your buck. They have multiple support cards because they have more than one archetype or warrior class in Tasuo Showdown is what it's called. They're more than one warrior class, so their synergy is going to be a lot better than any other card in the game. Just from that alone, and that's without the effects and abilities that they have. So we got them as our number 1 spot. Number 2, we got the Cosmic. The Cosmic are really powerful warriors, and their warrior class varies, but a Cosmic is usually the title of the card, and then this particular one in this image is Cosmic Warrior. Usually super easy summoning conditions, and Larry just pivots the game towards your favor immediately as soon as their board presence is there. Third, we have Seraphiend. Seraphiends are really good for resources. For the simple fact is, they can special summon themselves for almost to no cost, and then they have high Tasuo armor, so you can use them to reduce your Tasuo armor cost for certain warriors that you have in big plays like that. But their body count is pretty high, so that gives them the number 3 spot. And number 4 finally we have is Primimal. That takes the number 4 slot in the S tier. If we can find it. There he is. And that's it for our S tier. For our A tier, we have the category or the specifications for this category is fast engine, 1 or 2 card combos, one-man army, and great value for card costs. For the number 1 slot we got for there is the Time Casters, Leechers, or Time Lords. This is very powerful cards, almost S tier if you will. Second after that we got the Angels. These Angels, I just categorize multiple Angel subcategories for Angels. We have KO Angels, K Angels, Kio Angels, Realm Angels, Nether Angels, but just to sum it all in one, Angels takes the number 2 spot. And then number 3, we have Gods. Gods are limit 1 per deck as the Time Lords, but they are very powerful cards, usually very high life as well, hard to get rid of. Basically adds additional rules to the game, as any god should. Following Gods, we have the Korekuta. They are a group of lightning god worshippers. They are very powerful, can do a lot of back row, card removal, such things. Usually decent life, high body count, unfortunately, but they get the job done with their hacks abilities. Following Korekuta, we have the Wingweavers, aka the God Killers. Very poisonous, some of the most venomous spiders in the universe in this archetype. Some of them are ranged from, besides their poison bite, they can also shoot out webs that, entangle you and prevent you from moving. So it increases the success of their attacks. And then, poison over time does more damage as well as the initial bite. So yeah, they're very, very strong. After the Wingweavers, we have the Demi-gods. Demi-gods are, you know, obviously have the strength of a god, but they are very strong beings and warriors. They're probably the type of warrior you wouldn't worry about attacking, just using some type of spot remove to get rid of them, just because, you know, anything S and A, you're probably going to use spot remove to get them off the board as fast as possible, because that one-man army, you know, detail that's in these specifications for these tiers is very important, and that's why these cards are ranked as they are, because, you know, one-man army, meaning you can you know, beat multiple of your opponent's cards just with this one card. After Demigods, we have the Vikings. Vikings are very, very powerful. Their passive abilities is reduce damage to certain attacks, and this particular one, this Viking, is immune to responsive cards. So if your opponent is trying to use trap cards against you, they're ineffective against this warrior. Super powerful. After Vykeen, we have the SkyBeast. SkyBeast, a lot of 2-card combos. No 1-card combos, unfortunately, but the 2-card combos are synergized and make the deck works perfectly fine. You have a couple of standalone warriors can hold their own one-man army, such as Vivian the Skybear. So they made it to the A tier. After Skybear, we have the Baransu. Baransu have the best deck filtration currently in the Tasuo game. Their arena just allows them to filter through their deck and draw into cards that they need for battle. All right, now we've finalized our A tier. We're moving to our B tier. As you see, our A tier is pretty chunky. All rightfully deserved, though. All right, our B tier specifications is a mid-pace engine, 2-card combos, and a good value for card costs. So our first one is Elite Ninja. They're all 2 Tasuo armor, 1 body count. I think that's really good. 3 life though, so they kind of balance it out in a way. But they have a couple we have 2 1-card starters and a couple 2-card starters in the deck, so it just filters. It filters pretty well with the right hand, starting hand, obviously. After Leap Ninja, we have the Kacalibur. They have a couple card combos, but they have 1-card combo that's really, really good. It just filters through the whole deck if you open up with it. So it gets to 2nd place in the B tier. Following the Kacalibur, we have the Enchanters. They have a lot of water support, and the enchanted support helps filter through the deck and do a little bit of graveyard manipulation and placement just to filter through the deck and get to the cards you need. So that gives Enchanter the 3rd slot. Also, their main warrior, Veronica the Enchanter, is 9 life, 2 Tasuo armor, and only 1 body count with a printed attack, which is super, super good. Very low in resources and a threat on board. And then finally, for our B tier, we have the Ogres. Majority of the Ogres have printed attacks. This particular card though right here, Togra, he can filter out the deck and summon any of the Ogres you need at a time, depending on your opponent's interactions upon summoning. Also punishes your opponent for special summoning as well. So Togra easily gets the Ogre into the B tier. Also other Ogres also have printed attacks and have ways of dealing with back row or getting rid of warriors or weapons. All right, that ends our B tier. Next, we're moving on to the C tier. In the C tier, the category is slow engine, combo piece, and a decent value for card costs. First one on this list is the Wyverns. Savage Wyvern number 3, specifically in this archetype of the Wyverns. To call him, these 3 Tasuo armor, 2 body count. His life is 9, which is really good, especially for the 2 body count. Print attack is really excellent. Swings for 8 damage, but to call him, whether you ninja call him, e-call him, or normal call him, you have to cast off 2 cards, or if you're not familiar, discard 2 cards from hand to summon this guy. And then if you do attack for 8, you have to wait a following turn to attack again. So a lot of positives and a lot of negatives there. So I would say he's pretty even, which makes him make the C tier. And all the Savage Wyverns are like that. Savage Wyvern number 1, 2, and 3 also have that the sickness after attacking, if you will. So they can attack every other turn. Number 2 after that is the Jurraco. Jurraco is a really fun deck that focuses on burning your opponent's Tasuo armor. But the way the deck facilitates itself and operates a strategy makes it warrior heavy, restricting it from other support cards, or if you will, defense cards, which are essentially support cards, which will prevent your opponent from interrupting your board or your strategies, or even interrupting their strategies. So it can be hendersome when building this deck, trying to balance out the warrior and support build. So it's number 2 in our C tier. After that, we have our Black Lotus. Black Lotus are the more powerful warriors in the Lotus clan. They're split between Black and White Lotus. Black Lotus can set up their board a lot faster, but just like any other Lotus warrior, though, they rely on a technique card, which can be easily destroyed or disrupted by your opponent. So it's number 3 currently on the list. After that is the Kio Wolf. Really good deck. Facilitates itself, attack oriented aggro, but it relies on attack cards, which takes your slot for defense cards. So it can slow the deck a lot up, especially if your opponent's playing defensively. And some of their Tasuo armor cost is high, and their body count is pretty average, but it stacks up pretty fast. Following Kio Wolf, we have the Susu Kizan. Super fun deck, mid-range. Doesn't really focus on attacking, but you can attack if you choose to, or build a version. It's a burn deck that relies on playing spell cards that set up your opponent for burn every time you normal summon a warrior from hand. But it's pretty slow. It has a good search engine, but the warriors are high body count, low life, so it just loses and literally burns out pretty fast like any ordinary flame. Lastly, we have Beasts. Beasts have a great range of support currently, and they will in the future, but their Tasuo armor cost is really high, even though they have really good effects and abilities. So they made the C tier, but they're last because they don't really have any searchers. Alrighty, so that concludes our C tier. Next, we move on to the D tier. The D tier requirements are a slow engine that requires a setup and have a low value for card costs. First on our list, we have White Lotus. White Lotus have high Tasuo armor, have body count. They have good abilities, but the resource requirement to set up and execute these moves do not usually result in victory. So we got it in the D tier just because the setup is not worth the reward. Next, we have ReGal. The ReGal have really good synergy, can flood the field first turn. good search power, good support. It's just that their Tasuo armor cost and body count is just really high for their life and their effects and abilities. Really fun deck, but also relies a lot on luck and RNG, which is pretty much the deck's downfall, besides using weapons, which is also a setup in its own. The king is 3 body count, the queen is 2 body count, so literally you lose your king and queen, you already out the game, you lost the game. So that makes number 2 in our D tier. Number 3 in our D tier is the K9. The K9 beasts have really good effects against SkyBeast. Obviously, they're a silver bullet for SkyBeast. Almost impossible to summon if you don't have Decay, and they rely heavily on an arena card, which isn't bad. You know, the Baransu relies on an arena card. There's a couple other decks that rely on an arena card, but that being the only way to summon, and then the arena card has a restriction on how many of the warriors on the field, kind of slows down the deck. They all have printed attacks, which is good, but they're all high Tasuo armor, have ridiculously high body count, which makes the deck really bad, honestly. Fun deck to play, you know, when learning, I would say, and cool art style, but other than that, the deck is super mad. After K9, last we have the SkyBeast. SkyBeast is a cool deck, super slow because it relies on you placing Chai power underneath your warriors to activate their effects or abilities. At least 90% of the time, Chai power can only be attached once per turn, which slows down the deck like ridiculously. So having to have a extra card to active as cost, and then only be able to use or charge that energy to use those effects or abilities just makes it double slow. And then certain effects or abilities say you or require you to have more than 1 Chai power to activate it. So yeah, D tier all the way. And that will conclude our D tier. Next is our E tier, is not enough pieces to make a deck. The first one we got on the E tier is the Stellar. Next is Idainaken. Following Yokon. Next, Kareaper. Then Kenshikami. Next, Tech. Kabeast. And these currently are all the warrior classes, or if you will, or archetypes that cannot be made into a deck, but they're splashable obviously, but there are not enough of them to rank them, but they exist. And then finally for F is F tier is unplayable, and the only unplayable archetype or warrior class we have is the Koyako. There's only 2 warriors of them, and yeah, they don't really do much. So this is our tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be following up how to attain these warriors to build these decks. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you, Tasuo Warriors. Peace out.